What's up, guys? This episode today we're going to talk about research work, especially when you are thinking about buying your property. Maybe the first, maybe the second. The processes are almost the same. And this episode today is brought to you by PropertyGuru, but we'll talk about that later. And I felt the need to make this video because there are just a lot. I really am grateful for all the emails, a lot of inquiries about projects, and they're very specific. So instead of telling you whether a project is good or not, might as well I just tell you the process of fishing instead of just giving you all the fish. So after getting to know a particular project via social media, via advertisement, via events or wherever, the very first thing is to get the relevant information. It's either via their website, or you can go into forums, or if I have reviewed the project before, you can go check it out. Then the next thing, after getting all the relevant information, I will always encourage everybody to go to the sales gallery. But always be mindful that sales gallery is one of the most effective sales funnel, right? It's a sales funnel. So sales galleries are designed to trigger your emotions, so you will make emotional purchases. So while going through the entire sales process, when you go in, you'll be greeted by the respective agents or developer salesperson, and they will bring you through the entire project from specifications like number of units, density, and do be mindful of a few key points that people often do not pay attention to, such as the location of the refuse, the car park strategy, or the ramp design. Is there a loading bay? There's a lot of things that I've covered. After going through all that, I think the most important process that only you can do within the sales gallery is to know the sales packages. Unfortunately, these are time relevant. It means that it's seasonal. Sometimes when sales are not very good, the developer or the agencies will try to spice things up a little bit by giving more freebies or goodies. And when sales picking up, then maybe they think that the sales is too good, they will pull back on some. So this is the only time when you will have direct access to the promotional packages. That's why it's always very important to keep yourself updated if you are very interested in a particular project. Then ultimately there will be a decision to make to book or not to book. Personally, I will try to hold on to that thought, maybe just hold on, because some projects now don't really need booking, some you need a minimal of 500, but the argument is always to refund or not later. It always depends on a bank rejection letter before it's allowed to be refunded for free. If not, it will include an administrative fee for the cancellation. Sometimes they will take months to just get refund. So personally, I will just hold back before I get two things done. The first thing, if I have visited at least 20 different properties around that price range. The second reason of why I would book is I have visited the site. And this is the second part of the research, okay? The sales gallery research part, that's the fanciest, the most comfortable one. The second part of the research is actually site works. So I would always encourage everybody to go to site to check out a few things generally. So does the site exist or not? Because in the entire experience of sales gallery, all informations are curated. Sometimes there's a sewage treatment plant next to it, but the scale model, they'll just put it green. And this is where we need to be mindful. Once again, we are going through a sales funnel. All information are curated until we get to the site. So when we get to the site, what do we see? We look at the entrance, we look at the surrounding, we look at the people around, we look at the business activities around. And this is a little tip. If I see a lot of clinics with a lot of panels, those are locations with a lot of white collars. But when I see pediatricians, when I see a lot of nurseries, a lot of children education centers, art schools or whatsoever, the area is more of a family oriented area. If that area is filled with pubs, filled with snooker center, and also that will give the entire location a very different vibe. So that is something that I will look for when I go into commercial areas immediate to the surrounding, because I will need to always answer these few questions as well. If I were to move in, or if my tenants were to move in, where do they eat? Where do they play? Where do they spend money? Where do they grab food? Where do they hang out? Are those locations then walking distance away, or they need to drive? Or is there proximity, or is there the direct connections to the train station and things like that. At the same time, then drive around the site and look at competitors. Put yourself as a potential tenant or a potential buyer of your property in the future. Think about it. If I were to have money at the price range that you're looking at, 800,000 in Bukit Jalil. Okay, 800,000. If I were to not buy yours, what do I buy? And why would I buy yours at that price that you want me to? So these are the questions that you need to answer. For example, the project that we are mentioning right now, surrounding there will be trees. What about link to? What about paraiso? So that leads to the third part of the research, market data research. And this is where the team from PropertyGuru comes in. So now they are introducing Brickz Report. So for those who are in the market, we have heard of Brickz. I'm those user that was depending on them. So okay, so for those who are not familiar with Brickz Report, it's a report where it allows you to see the latest transaction price. And this is where the Kailan theory comes in. For example, my mother asked me to go out and get a keti of Kailan today. How much is the keti? That's one question. How much is Kailan per keti? Another question. What would I do then? I will go into supermarket to see what are the prices of different Kailans available. Some are local, some are foreign, some from Hong Kong, some organic, some fresh, some in bulks. They will come in all different sizes and different prices. The same applies to property. If I'm looking at a new project today, I will need to first establish what's the median price of the properties around that location. It won't go too far off, but if there is really one or two outliers, we gotta know and understand why. So this is how the report is going to look like. So this is the Brickz report, right? And this is for Residency Park. There will be some confusion when you come into naming, because most of the building names are in Bahasa Malaysia. So this is freehold, residential, and the building type is a service residence. And you can see that all these are available. Like the price, the median is 1.1 million. Price per square feet is 947 out of how many readings, you see? And here is stated that price per square feet and price based on 25 transactions from October 2022 to September 2023. So all these will be the data available in the report, and this is my favorite lah. On one side you can see that it's all the date on when it's transacted and the address. So you can see that is it a high floor, low floor. It also comes with a size. So these are formal reports acquired from formal channels. This is going to be super helpful whenever we are conducting our market research for our next property purchase. So this is going to be what's available within the report itself. It's rather direct, but it's compact. And we also have to accept this thing where most of the new projects are selling future prices, as they will need to also somewhat control their risk and hedge against inflation. Ultimately, the project they will hand over to you 4 years time. Most of the time, there will be a difference between new projects and existing projects. The old method of how I would do it is to still go to PropertyGuru, but I will just take an average, because ultimately the asking price is all set by agents and owners. Owners will always want to sell high. Buyers always want to buy low. This is where the Brickz report will become very handy, where ultimately it's the transacted price that counts. Then one stone throw away, we have another project called the range. Anyway, the thing that we want to see here is the median price per square feet. So here is 614 and the median price is 927,000. Again, if you were to go through and scroll down, these are the available transactions. These are then the amount of prices. So all these are available within the report itself. And a personal trick again, this is how I determine whether an address is hot or not. I will look into the rate of transaction. It means that in 6 months time, how many units are being transacted. The more transactions, of course, towards a higher price, it means the heat of the location is going up. If I were to look at a project in a new location, the latest transaction was 3 years ago, something is wrong. It's either the prices are too expensive or the demand for that address is just that. So now we can generate a report of our own for 69 ringgit to somewhat facilitate and allow us to make better judgment. Technically, if you're a seasoned investor, this is not really a big cost, but if you're a first timer, then you might want to think about it. You can of course still make personal and manual judgment based on the asking price set by owners or agents online on their platform, but this technically just gives me way more certainty. So for those who don't want to pay, actually if you go into the website brickz.my, you can also see all the data that you need already. This is Twin Arcs also in Bukit Jalil. 758 ringgit, that will be the median price per square feet. Just that the difference will not be as detailed, so you will not have all the addresses, but in the paid report then you do. Ultimately, what I want everybody to do is to just make that informed decision and take calculated risk. And with the report, it's somewhat like this superpower that allows us to check on the latest transaction and is tabulated out clearly, accurately, all just to guide our decision making process. Ultimately, it's still entirely up to us whether do we think that the price we buy justifies its value. If the property price is way too high from the median, we have to know why. Is it really because of a catalyst like a school or a mall or a university or something lah, right? Why are we paying like extra 300 per square feet for a project compared to the median price? Or suddenly we discover a gem where it's about 100 to 200 below market price compared to the surrounding. So like, why is this project then not being highlighted? All this can only be discovered via several rounds of a research like this. Step 1, we find out more about the project itself via the online media, via websites, head on to the sales gallery. Then the second thing, go into the site, go and learn about the business activities, people around, look at the cars, traffic congestion, business activities, type of tenancy around the shops, location of entrance, immediate things that developers or agents usually don't tell you. Part number 2. Number 3, market data research, and this is where PropertyGuru's Brickz Report will be very handy. I'll put a link down below if you really want to go and check it out. And I guess that's all for this episode. Shout out again to PropertyGuru's team for sponsoring this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Ciao.